It's time to make mopping history.
BravaJet, start mopping.
Introducing the BravaJet M6 Robot Mop. With an adjustable precision jet spray, an advanced pad system for mopping.
Whoa, what the heck was that?
What is a conspiracy theory? Although the term has been used since as early as the 19th century, it didn't really enter into everyday language until the JFK assassination and the ensuing aftermath. A conspiracy theory is the theory that an event or phenomenon occurs as a result of a conspiracy between interested parties. A belief that some covert but influential agency, typically political in motivation and oppressive in intent, is responsible for an unexplained event. Conspiracy theorists see themselves as having privileged access to special knowledge or a special mode of thought that separates them from the masses who believe the official account. And in the 20th century, the term has come to have a negative connotation. What are some conspiracy theories? What are the assumptions people have to make to believe them? Are there common elements or patterns to them to help us recognize them? And why do so many people believe conspiracy theories today anyway? To begin, let's mention some different theories. Here's a list of 27, or 3 to the power of 3, different conspiracy theories. Multiple people or organizations were involved in the assassination of JFK. The Illuminati secretly ruled the world. 9/11 was an inside job. Elvis Presley is still alive. The death of Princess Diana was orchestrated. The moon landing was faked. Juice WRLD faked his death. Area 51 has UFOs and aliens. Vaccines are not safe. Chemtrails are governments putting mind-altering chemicals into our air. The Loch Ness Monster is real. Bigfoot is real. Walt Disney was cryonically frozen. The Earth is flat. Birds aren't real. They're all government spy robots. Tupac isn't dead. The Denver International Airport has a secret neo-Nazi bunker. Governments and corporations are using subliminal messages. The Zimmerman telegram was fake. It was used to get the US into World War I. Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966 and was replaced by a lookalike. The CIA killed Bob Marley. Lizard people secretly rule the world. Bill and Hillary Clinton have assassinated 50 or more of their associates. The FDA is covering up better natural cures in order to make more money. Crop circles are UFOs. The CIA created HIV and AIDS. And coronavirus is caused by 5G.
Now, I know some of you are sitting at home right now smug, like, oh, how does 5G cause a virus? I'll tell you how. Ask yourself this question. What is 5G? It's a super fast network that runs through the air. You know what else goes through the air? Coronavirus. What else goes through the air? Superman. And what burger did I eat while watching the last Superman movie? Five Guys. Five Guys, 5G. I rest my case. Now, I'm not gonna lie. There are a few coverage gaps in this 5G theory. Just a few things that make me doubt. For starters, every part of this theory is completely ridiculous and biologically impossible. Not to mention, coronavirus has also exploded in places where they don't even have 5G, so I haven't figured that out yet. And 5G, just like 4G and 3G before it, is broadcast at such a low frequency, it's too weak to do any damage to you. Yeah, so saying 5G makes you sick is sort of like saying an iPhone flashlight gave you a sunburn.
In this video, we are going to talk about 3 major aspects of conspiracy theories. How do they arise, or what are some assumptions most conspiracy theories make? What factors or patterns do most conspiracy theories have in common? And why do so many people believe in these crazy stories? Hopefully by the end of this video, you will be better able to recognize a conspiracy theory for what it is and be able to use critical thinking skills and research to discover the truth. First off, let's talk about how these theories arise. Once again, I've broken it down into 3 major parts. Assumptions. Benefit indicates control, nothing is accidental, and appearances deceive. The first assumption is that whoever benefited from the event must have caused it. For example, after September 11th, the American people were more patriotic than ever before, and George Bush's role as a leader increased his approval ratings. Because Bush benefited from the attacks, theorists say that he must have had a hand in it. When the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer came out, people were outraged as to how terrible Sonic looked. So the director redid the look of Sonic in order to please fans. Conspiracy theorists claim that bad Sonic was done on purpose, as any publicity is good publicity. You can see how this assumption works. It plays off of the idea that people or organizations will do anything for power or wealth, even if it means creating a problem that they can then step in and solve. This leads directly into the second assumption, which is that nothing is accidental. Every event that happened was just part of a greater plan. This is silly, of course, because no matter what Master Oogway says, accidents do happen. When Deepwater Horizon exploded, it was an accident. But that didn't stop theorists from proposing that it was purposeful sabotage in order to promote environmentalism. Finally, the last assumption many conspiracy theorists make is that appearances deceive. For example, if someone seems to have power, such as the President of the United States, then they really don't have power. It could be the lizard people overlords that are really pulling the strings. And if people appear to have no power, then really they have all the power. For instance, there was no one central Jewish authority from AD 70 to 1948, but that doesn't stop theorists from claiming that it was all a ruse and that they were plotting to gain world hegemony. In fact, many conspiracy theories rely on racist beliefs, thinking that one group of foreigners, while seeming innocent, are actually plotting something, such as to overthrow the government or take over the world. Now that we know some basic assumptions of conspiracy theories, let's look at some common patterns that most conspiracy theories have in common. I've grouped them into 3 groups, each with 3 features. 1. The evidence conspiracy theories base their claims on. 2. How a theory can change over time. And 3. The theory's attitude towards the truth. Evidence conspiracy theories base their claims on. Some patterns that emerge are that conspiracy theories thrive in obscurity, are reluctant to divulge information, and rely on forgeries. Remember, conspiracy theorists see themselves as having privileged access to special knowledge or a special mode of thought that separates them from the masses who believe the official account. They will find one obscure politician, one obscure scientist that goes against the mainstream, and claim that they are the only ones not fooled by the official count.
We're going to be asking questions and bringing you information that the mainstream media is absolutely ignoring. An emergency doctor blasting Bill Gates, the fake pandemic numbers.
Changing the configuration morphologically to gain function. It's called a gain of function study or gain of function research. And that basically means that they're making something that already may have some potential to cause harm, making it more harmful, making it more virulent, making it more resistant. And basically that's what I found, that they took the SHC014 strain of the coronavirus, the surface antigen component, and brought in the backbone from the SARS coronavirus, put them together, and then inserted HIV and MERS orthologs on top of it to make a more virulent, more detrimental virus.
Conspiracy theorists also use sources that are non-specific. For instance, they might use the word they. They said this. Or the word science. Science shows that this. Or they may even be more overt about it, saying something like, I cannot tell you my exact source because they wish to remain anonymous.
There's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and then there's a source here that I cannot reveal.
Either that, or the documents the theorists use are fake or forgeries. In the 16th and 17th centuries, forged documents were used to make people afraid of the Knights Templar, claiming that they participated in obscure rituals. In today's society, the entire anti-vaccine movement was created on a study that was done in the late 1990s by Andrew Wakefield, which was since disproven. Yet, morons continue to believe the lie that vaccines are bad, even after that theory was disproven. How a theory changes over time can also help us recognize what is conspiracy theory and what is not. Conspiracy theories will be oblivious to the passage of time, have several inconsistencies, and require piling one conspiracy on top of another. Some conspiracy theories persist throughout centuries. The Knights Templar, which came into existence around 1119 and have disappeared before the 13th century, the Illuminati, which hasn't existed in 2 centuries, and the Sanhedrin, gone for about 2,000 years, all still have conspiracy theories that circulate around them today. If the theory involves an organization that went out of existence hundreds of years ago, but is somehow secretly flourishing under the public's eye, you can be pretty sure it's not true. Older conspiracy theories will often not care that time and the trends of the world are passing. Often the theory will just change slightly to try to fit in with the current events, which often leads to inconsistencies. In World War II, there were, apparently, an army of Jews at the Mexican border, ready to invade the US. In 1962, it was communist Chinese that were at the Mexican border, ready to invade the US. In the 1980s, it was the Vietnamese at the Mexican border. And today, it's the Russians. They can't all be right. 5G towers are said to cause coronavirus today, while they used to cause people to become gay in the past. It just doesn't make sense because it's not true. Often theories will have to be made to cover up inconsistencies in other conspiracy theories. People have claimed that JFK was shot with multiple bullets from multiple shooters instead of the official version of there being one shooter. When the official report came out that there was only one bullet in JFK's body, it was explained away by yet another conspiracy. For example, doctors being in on the scheme and surreptitiously taking the extra bullets out. How a theory takes contrary evidence is also a good indicator as to its validity. Many conspiracy theories dismiss contrary evidence as being part of the conspiracy. Some only listen to and immediately accept any argument that points to the conspiracy being correct indiscriminately, and some theorists just have a cavalier attitude towards truth in general. Some conspiracy theories have the caveat that any contrary evidence just bolsters the original conspiracy theory in the first place. This will usually take on the form of, "See, I told you they wanted to cover up the truth." For example, in the conspiracy theory that Paul McCartney actually died in a car accident in 1966 and was replaced by a double, theorists will claim that the Beatles only wanted true fans to know the truth, not the general masses. True fans would find the secret hidden messages in the Beatles' album covers and song lyrics, whereas the general populace would be unaware. So if you try to show one of these theorists proof that Paul McCartney isn't dead, they would say that that was all part of the plan to begin with, and that you're not a true fan. Conspiracy theorists will often just indiscriminately accept any argument that agrees with their case, and ignore any argument that disagrees with it, no matter how solid or silly any of these arguments are. If a theorist thinks that Tupac is still alive, they will take any evidence they can get their hands on. Pictures of supposed Tupac sightings from around the world. No matter if it would have meant that Tupac would have had to have traveled halfway across the world in one day, and then all the way back again for the next day, for the sole purpose of being seen in the backgrounds of a couple photographs. Sometimes conspiracy theorists will just have a cavalier attitude towards the facts. Cavalier means showing a lack of proper concern. Truth, facts, and data mean little to nothing to these conspiracy theorists. Often they'll just make up facts out of thin air. For example, the 1980 October surprise conspiracy theory. Gary Sick is indicted of making up entire conversations of members of Ronald Reagan's presidential campaign, with no actual evidence to any of his claims. Gary Sick, in his book, offered very precise details of events that never even occurred. Now that we've explored in detail 9 factors or distinct patterns found in many conspiracy theories, we have to ask ourselves the question, why then do people believe in these theories? I will list 3 psychological reasons why our brains are so susceptible to believing these theories. They are illusory pattern perception, proportionality bias, and intentional causality. Illusory pattern perception, or pattern recognition, is our innate ability to find patterns. This can be really helpful in figuring out when something goes wrong, and it also allows us to communicate with others. But the problem is that we become too good at seeing patterns, to the point that we begin to see patterns that aren't even there. Anytime you've seen some random stuff make a face, for instance, is you putting meaning onto something that doesn't actually have that meaning. This perception of an illusionary pattern can cause many to see things that aren't there, such as hidden messages and laid out texts, or connections between events or people that aren't connected, such as the crazy coincidences between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy.
The coincidences between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy are famous. Both were elected to the presidency in a year ending with 60. Lincoln was shot at Ford's Theater. Kennedy was shot in a 1961 Lincoln Continental 4-door convertible made by Ford. Both presidents' last names have 7 letters, and both assassins had 15 letters in their names. The list goes on, as it should. In the famous Spooky Presidential Coincidences contest held by the Skeptical Inquirer in 1992, one contestant alone found similar lists of crazy coincidences between 21 pairs of former presidents. Given the vast amount of details in any one of our lives, it's pretty easy.
This desire to find patterns and connections between things, the illusory pattern perception, has been considered the number 1 reason for why people believe conspiracy theories. Another reason, though, is our proportionality bias. In other words, we like things to be even and equal. A large effect, therefore, must have had a large cause. It seems wrong to us that something small and seemingly insignificant can have such a huge impact. For instance, the assassination of JFK sent shockwaves throughout the world. It seems wrong to us that it could have been caused by just one person acting alone, Lee Harvey Oswald. It is much more balanced and proportional to us that Oswald was working with others, and thus a conspiracy theory is born. This ability to see patterns and to think that cause and effect should be equal stem from our evolutionary heritage, as does the idea of intentional causality. To our ancestors, if something happened, such as a bush moving, it was much safer to assume that there was a cause behind it, like a predator hiding in the bushes. Thus, we as humans have become conditioned to think that if an event happens, it's much safer to believe that there was a purposeful cause behind it. This better safe than sorry approach to the world made sense for our ancestors, but today it just makes it easier for us to fall trap to believing some crazy conspiracy theories. Especially since in today's world many feel powerless and the world seems out of control. It is within our natures when a problem arises to seek patterns and to find a remedy. Those who are less educated are more likely to fall prey to believing conspiracy theories, not because they are less intelligent per se, but because they feel less secure. When a terrible event happens, we naturally want to find an outlet for our uncertainty, grief, and rage. Believing that the chaotic world is actually ordered, even if it means that lizard people or the Illuminati are secretly running the world, gives our brains a solution to the fears we all naturally inhabit. One good predicator as to if someone is going to believe a conspiracy theory or not is if they already believe in other conspiracy theories. If they believe in other conspiracy theories, then they are more likely to believe in another. I'd like to close this video then by stressing the importance of doing your research. Simply hearing it from one guy on the internet, even me, is not enough. You need to be able to think critically, ask tons of questions, and rely only on credible sources.
Mr. Perazzo, question. When you were listing your conspiracy theories, you didn't mention Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, because that's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact.
Right, yeah.